Hello and welcome to another Company of Heroes 3 game. My name is Fancy Josh, and today I've got a game for you between Nub as our Wehrmacht, and his opponent today is going to be PAX AJAX as our US. Map today is going to be Villa Fiore. Love this map. I really like the high ground in the middle with this sort of dynamic battleground with lots of cover to start off the game, but quickly gets erased by tanks and large explosions and just really opens this area up. And, these cutoff points that connect you to your major fuel point, relatively accessible to your opponent. It's just some interesting diving opportunities, I should say. So, I think at this point I am really liking this tournament mode. Just the wide open space. I'm getting both players saying they're a big fan of each other. By the way, PAX AJAX, big Twitch streamer. Large member of the community. I know he's a moderator on several other Twitch streamers' channels. So highly recommend you check out his channel if you ever get a chance. He's a nice guy. In any case, so I'm really liking this tournament mode. Poll's been up on my page for a little while at this point, so I am going to make a decision here very shortly. So if you haven't had a chance to vote in the poll, please go ahead and do that, just so we can make sure your voice is heard. Fight breaking out here, Grenadiers fighting with these Riflemen. I'm going to be driven back here, probably going to try and pick up that point. Just kidding, they're out of here. Scouts continuing to pick up territory. And kind of a cool opening from Nub here, going for the Fulsham Pioneers out of the Luftwaffe battle group. It's a pretty strong squad, especially in multiplayer, team games, right? Where you can drop these units in to a really obnoxious place and secure territory before your opponent can even get there. We kind of saw that a little bit, just dropping that unit in to support those Grenadiers, allowing them to win that fight. Scouts and Riflemen engaging these Pioneers here on the side. Fulsham Pioneers coming to help out. Are going to arrive in time to make a difference here. US player focusing one side. Grenadiers also on the way. This does look like a favorable fight for our German overall. But the Riflemen are going to press onto these Pioneers, and they're probably going to have to go here. This is a bad retreat path. They should make it out okay. Riflemen still going to chase, though. And Pioneers might go down here. Yes, nice pickup there for our US player. Scouts now in jeopardy. And looks like players are going to be trading units here. Riflemen trying to help out on the retreat there, but not going to happen. And that looks like a dead squad to me. Oh my goodness, are they going to get out? No way. There he goes. Last second there, maximum range. And German eventually going to give up. Nope, I don't know what that means, but I'm assuming it has something to do with the multiple units going down. So, US player going for the advanced infantry battle group and adding on these artillery observers. So, I did publish a game on my channel between PAX AJAX and Zulu, Cobra Zulu. That is, the guy that changes his name every week, another Twitch streamer. So I had a chance to ask PAX AJAX about this build, and he's, I don't know, he just really likes the increased health, and sometimes he'll spam these units out, and he said that he had started to figure out how to use the barrage beacon. I forget what it's called. Sure, we're going to see it this game, and I will get a chance to show it to you. But yeah, he said he had figured that out, and he was really enjoying it, and I expect we're going to see that here. Both players' builds are fairly standard after a little bit of an unusual opening from our German. Going for those Fulsham Pioneers. Captain on the field, and engineers close behind. So, artillery radio beacon on the way. I wonder where that's being built. May have gotten canceled, actually. Okay, he is going to put it here. Unfortunately for him, going to get spotted doing so, though. So that's not going to last for very long. Rifleman stealing away that critical fuel point. Artillery observers being found out, as is the beacon there. Captain trying to stop this from happening, but that is a dead beacon. Not the end of the world, only 50 manpower there. But a little bit annoying for a US player, because the jig is up on what his plan is. I might even see it like... So I kind of like this spot here. It's sort of out of the way for the German player's pathing, right? The German player is going to go for this point. He's going to go for this point. He's not going to come into this area necessarily without a good reason. And very cool. So Fulsham Pioneers have been upgraded here. And I'm not going to be able to see it in this view. So I will switch views here in just a second. Riflemen and these Grenadiers duking it out on this bottom side here. Grenadiers eating a huge grenade there. Are going to go down on the retreat from the looks of things. Nice pickup by the Riflemen. Pioneers here as well. They can't stay for very long. They are going to try, though. They're preventing this capture from happening, which is really what matters. Grenadiers coming in to help out, and the Riflemen aren't going to be able to secure the point. Oh, they did secure the point. I am tripping, guys. I am tripping. I see a bar almost empty, and I assume it's the attacker, but it was not in that case. So what I'm trying to show you here is the Fulsham Pioneers, which are on the retreat, so now I can't actually show you. We'll give them just a sec to get home. There they go. So they have added on this MG-15 light machine gun, increasing their combat effectiveness. It's a little surprising. I see a lot of Fulsham Pioneer players go for the grenade launcher, but we're not going to see that this game. Panzer Grenadiers on the way for our German player. Love to see that. They have been really, really strong after the patch gave them a buff. And seeing lots of players add them on here. So cool to see them once again. Barbed wire going down all over the place for our US player, interestingly enough. He's going to get caught doing so, though, and those Grenadiers going to make short work of this unit here. From the looks of it, and there's the artillery observer helping out in the middle of this field here. That's a rather aggressive placement for that building, but isn't a good enough spot to make a difference here. And, you know, that's the thing about artillery observers, right? You know, you see an artillery observer, you assume there's a beacon there, and our German player is going to find that out and get rid of it. Half-track on the field for our US player. Is already upgrading that to the quad mount. So wants the anti-infantry effectiveness here. And actually, that's going to be a really good choice given what Nub is going for here with a second Panzer Grenadier on the way. No dedicated AT just yet. And his only real AT option is going to be an AT gun. Now this map has, I don't know, you'd think it'd be an excellent map for AT guns. And then, you know, in the late game it can be, but in this early game, there's so many shot blockers that it can be a real pain in the butt to use AT guns from what I've seen. And this house in the middle in particular is very strong. Okay, very, very cool. We're seeing a recoilless rifle added on by our German here. I think this is actually an excellent choice on this particular map for the reasons I was just talking about. This gun tends to be a bit more mobile. Also has the ability to retreat. So if it gets in trouble, it can get out of there. It's a really cool decision there. Captain trying to pick up this field point. Going to find a mine instead. Half-track backing up. Bar rifles on the way for a US player. Interesting. He feels like he needs that anti-infantry, and actually I think that's pretty good here, because he is only running into infantry right now. AA half-track going to find these Panzer Grenadiers. Panzer Grenadiers going to give up the spot. And US player controlling all 3 victory points here, as well as the fuel. Going to be feeling pretty good about that. German player pushing in a big way here. AT gun stealth is probably going to get a shot against this half-track. Won't kill it in one, of course. And AA half-track going to give up the position. Might see it just kind of park behind this house here. Not going to happen. Riflemen getting into sandbags here, going to fight long range with those Fulsham Pioneers, which is actually what the Fulsham Pioneers want to do. Another beacon on the field for our US player, artillery radio beacon. I think that's another pretty decent spot. And again, these beacons, they're not necessarily about killing, but they are about taxing your opponent's APM. And if you can get them into a position where your opponent wants to push into, like right here, they have to keep moving, so they have to make a choice. Do they want to come forward or do they want to back up? And in the case of these Fulsham Pioneers, they do not want to come forward. That said, they are doing pretty well against these riflemen, but now that they close the distance, the riflemen have an advantage, and both players are going to give up the position there. Now these artillery observers have been found out here. Panzer Grenadier is going to destroy the beacon and probably bounce out of this area. But not before eating a ton of flamethrower shots. Grenade coming out. US player repositioning is still going to take a ton of damage, but not losing any units. A half-track getting aggressive there, actually getting on the side of that recoilless rifle there. Grenadiers making the half-track eat a Panzerfaust there, but going to get repaired up right away. And this beacon doing some work for our US player. I mean, he's taxing his opponent here. Taxing manpower, taxing APM, almost stopping the capture, but not quite. And now these Grenadiers back to base, right? As good as a mine. So very cool there. Yeah, what a cool strategy, just leaving it somewhere on the edge and making his opponent's life difficult. Advanced logistics on the way for our US player. So is going to have access to the cheaper infantry reinforce. And the longer this game goes, the more beneficial that it's going to be. He's also gone for munition surplus, which is unusual. So, munition surplus, if I'm remembering correctly. Yep, getting that 10% munitions discount on all his abilities. So, you know, I think it's entirely possible we see our US player go for all of the perks there. Be interesting. Has teched up to Rangers, so I'm actually thinking he's just going to go hard into Rangers here, which could be pretty good, especially with given what he's up against. Wehrmacht player floating a ton of fuel here, though, and hasn't teched up just yet. I don't even think he's gone for support elements, not that it would help him right here. Beacon. So, you know, our US player keeps putting that beacon in the exact same spot, and our German player just knows where to find it at this point. Did he find the other one? I wonder. He has not found the other one yet, and it's actually helping him out here just a little bit. Now, these Panzer Grenadiers want to be close, but they were also forced to be close by that beacon. Recoilless rifle ready for the half-track, but the half-track's nowhere to be found. That blinking all sorts of colors here. Rifleman diving on this cutoff point might get it. Might get this Panzer Grenadier. Very, very close. Oh man, just barely making it around that corner. And here come the Fulsham Pioneers to try and put a stop to that. This player actually taking away his opponent's guaranteed fuel. Of course, it's not actually guaranteed, but it is attached to that headquarters sector. And what a strange map configuration here. It actually looks like our US player is fully connected. He is fully connected. That's crazy. So he's actually stealing fuel from his opponent right now, which is totally crazy to say. But all these isolated central sectors here. Panzer Grenadier is going to chase down these low-health riflemen. Riflemen got to go right now. Second recoilless rifle added on for our German player. Might lose these riflemen on the way out. Both players trading body blows here, trying to pick each other's units up. And almost got him there. Pioneers should finish the job, although it's going to be close. And nicely done there, catching that unit on the retreat. So that's kind of a big deal. Bazookas on the field for our US player, fearing a verbal wind, potentially. Or some other vehicle. Now, of course, our German player can't actually build that because he doesn't have a Luftwaffe building. But, yeah, that's okay. Black half-track continuing to be annoying. Looks like the artillery beacon did get found out there. Captain holding down this tiny little tiny little building here. Actually doing okay. Is that going to go down, Fulsham Pioneer? Not quite. A half-track not chasing. Grenadiers getting blasted there, and just action all over the place here. Grenadiers even going to find some Zukas in the middle. Pioneers taking this right side. Panzer Grenadiers taking the right side. And US player is going to push away those Grenadiers, but here come more units right behind them. This game is nuts. Grenadiers being found by these engineers, burned out of their position. Panzer Grenadier officer quarters on the way, so going to vet up all his units a little bit here. Now, my question is, does this impact these recoilless rifles? I think it might. Keep an eye on their veterancy there. So let me just take a peek at this guy here. So he has literally 0, and he is going to vet up to 1, so very cool. Very, very cool. 3rd Panzer Grenadier on the way here. So German player fully committed to infantry this game. Here comes a demolition package from our US player, going to let him plant mines and explosives. That's crazy. Improved bazookas also on the way. Further going to help that ranger switch if it does end up happening, which given the current state of things does feel like that's in our future here. And also picked up survival training for the increased health. So, yeah. PAX AJAX all in on his infantry this game. We are definitely going to be seeing Rangers. No doubt in my mind. Now, recoilless rifles setting up on the half-track. Sneaking in the second one. Does have the angle there, but no vision. Huge grenade hitting those artillery observers. They are going to get out of there safe and sound from the looks of it. Bazookas helping out, but not accomplishing a whole lot. Panzer Grenadiers closing the distance over here, but are going to have to give up the position. Grenadiers going to hop in that house. There is another artillery observer beacon on that right side. That's what this line on the ground is. So US player continuing to spend manpower on that. It's only 50 manpower a pop. Does add up, of course. And that barrage is going to force those Grenadiers right out of that house. Very cool. A half-track still alive, getting up on these Grenadiers. Going to eat a few shells for its trouble. Might go down. Grenadier may also go down. Not quite going to get him there. So a little bit aggressive by our US player there. And these recoilless rifles are going to retreat on out of there. This is a weird spot to put a beacon, but it's working for him, so I can't judge. Feel like Dexon, miss. I don't know what he's. So Dexon is another player, and apparently he misses a lot. So I don't know. That's what is that call in there? Rangers being added on here. First ones of the game. Oh yeah, so that was a weapons drop there. Let's see what they got real quick. Wow. How about 6 million bars? So they are ready to slap down some infantry there. Mortar pit on the way. Fighting position as it's called. Can be upgraded to a mortar pit. Would be very surprised if that didn't happen. Yet another artillery observer point here added on. Going to start wrecking these units. Fighting position here in the middle. Going to be overrun by all these AT units and infantry from the looks of things. Now this insane run and gun rangers in the area to try and deal with this. 4 bars is totally insane in the amount of DPS it can put out. More riflemen on the scene. Bazookas trying their hardest, but not going to get a whole lot done. And I'm not sure what that circle on the ground was. But going to be artillery barrage coming in here from that observer. Riflemen duking it out with these Panzer Grenadiers at point blank. Grenade coming out the door. Going to actually get a really good connection on those Vet 2 units. More riflemen on the scene. Panzer Grenadiers probably can't stay here. Are going to bail out. Might go down. Not quite. Another artillery barrage actually coming down on the riflemen a little bit there. And AT guns actually doing reasonable damage to that captain, which is a little strange to say out loud. So I've been so caught up on all this action that's been happening everywhere that I've neglected the victory points, as has our German. He does have control of 2 victory points right now, but not for much longer. Pioneers managing to pick up the artillery observer beacon there, nicely done. My point is that our German player is going to have to pay very close attention to the victory points as this game goes on, right? He's down to just 140. Does have a little bit of breathing room, of course, but he's going to have to prioritize that if he wants to stay in this game. Actually going to stop this capture from happening. Nicely done there. Panzer Grenadiers closing with the riflemen, but getting cooked by the flamethrowers there. And that's not a place those engineers want to be. More Rangers on the field now. Have they been upgraded? Question mark. 6 bars on that rifle squad. Holy cow. This one's only got 2. So Rangers closing the distance here. And absolutely wrecking all this infantry. Holy cow. Rangers are freaking scary, man. Vet 3. Nicely done. I mean, this is all of the buffs coming together, right? It's the survival training, it's the Rangers themselves, you know. It's just all those upgrades coming together. Panzer Company available for our German player. I actually wouldn't be surprised if he went for something like Stosstruppen. But actually, I think a Sturmpanzer could be really, really good here. See what he ends up wanting to do. Does have enough fuel. I don't think he has quite enough manpower just yet, but we should be seeing that real soon. Now, our US player, of course, has 1,000,000 fuel, because now that he has all his upgrades across all his infantry, he doesn't, you know, he's just going to be able to save up fuel here. I suspect we'll see him upgrade his final rifleman to a Ranger before going for any sort of vehicles. But we'll see what he ends up wanting to do there. Rangers closing the gap here with that sprint. Doing huge damage here. This is the 6-bar rifle squad, so getting in behind these anti-tank guns, absolutely going to shred them. Engineers also helping out. Good grenade connection. And that's a dead recoilless rifle, isn't it? Barely going to get him on the retreat there. Ranger's going to have to bail out. Should live. Panzer Grenadiers going to lose that DPS as that unit gets further away. And big fight from both players. Just infantry slamming into each other here. Grenadiers getting absolutely shredded. Panzer Grenadiers, Vet 3, though, are going to wreck those Rangers, and Engineers got to go as well. Captain trying to help, but also has to retreat. So, crazy enough, German player coming out looking pretty good there. Where is that beacon? We're seeing barrage there. Is it this guy? Might have been. I just feel like it was that guy. Have a machine gun on the way for a US player, and actually I think that's a really good decision. Unfortunately for him, there's a Sturmpanzer in the works here. So, you know, the heavy machine gun going to really help against those. I mean, they're not even blobs, really. It's just players have so much infantry that they go anywhere and they're automatically blobbing. In any case, these... yeah, heavy machine gun are going to really help against those groups of units. Sturmpans are going to be real scary here, though. Our US player only has bazookas. Doesn't have a motor pool. And actually hasn't rolled any bazookas on his Rangers that I've seen. Let's take another quick look here while we have a second. Oh, let me just mess with the camera while we're all watching. And that Ranger squad still hasn't upgraded. Yeah, I can't believe they got 6 bars. That's so ridiculous. So the good news for our German player, and I mean, it's not like there was bad news, but he has this infantry reserves, right? So he's also getting that 25% discount bonus on reinforcing his infantry. which means he can maintain an army this size while still being able to add on other manpower units, right? And Sturmpanzer being the most obvious example. Sturmpanzer finding these bazookas here, and bazookas are going to go down, so bad to worse for our US player a little bit here. Are going to find these AT guns. Satchel Charge going to take them out there. Nicely done. Fortunately for our US player, German player could probably just reman that. And Riflemen, or excuse me, Rangers closing the gap, going to get suppressed here. Here comes a barrage. Going to miss, fortunately for him. Is that a US mine? Must be. Love that mine placement. If his opponent wants to get aggro, he's going to have to walk right through that mine. Another bazooka being added on here. So US player feeling like he can deal with the Sturmpanzer with just bazookas. See if he's right about that. Of course, he does have the 25% increased penetration. So that's going to be good for him. And man, can I just say how freaking nuts this game is? This is such a unique game. You know, I know both players are going for some really strong units, but both players willing to commit to infantry is just so cool to see. So over the last few minutes here, German's done a pretty decent job controlling the victory points. He hasn't bled out very much more. Okay, now this Ranger squad got some bazookas there. Yeah, they got 3. So they're going to be able to do some pretty good work against that Sturmpanzer. Now, Sturmpanzer has massive front armor, but Rangers have the advantage of being able to walk and fire right accurately. So if a that Ranger squad walks up to that Sturmpanzer could be hurting. So can't remember what game that was. Might have been yeah, I don't know who that game was, but there was a crazy game where we saw some Rangers just straight up walk at Panzer IVs and do some serious work. Actually, more bazookas here helping out, doing some pretty substantial damage. And this is what I'm talking about, right? These Rangers can just walk right after this tank and do some great work here. Sturmpanzer does look like he's going to get away, though. So that's good for him. And bazookas continuing their advance, so Sturmpanzer's going to have to keep on going. And isn't going to keep on going, instead going to have to... Please, bazooka's going to find him again, though. But here comes the cavalry. Infantry here to save the day. Now with 4 bazookas, that Ranger squad isn't very good against infantry anymore. So, yeah. A crazy game. Looks like an anti-tank gun went down while that was happening, but still in a position our German can recapture. Oddly enough, I mean, he just doesn't even need it. Like, he has to pick it up to keep it out of the US player's hands. Like, that's the only reason he needs it, which is actually pretty funny. Now, look at those veterancies, dude. Look at all those veterancies. Holy cow. Bazookas might go down here. Panzer Grenadiers at maximum range there. With this ridiculous veterancy 3. But holy cow. Pretty much everything there. There's like 1 Pioneer and 1 Panzer Grenadier not at veterancy 3. US players' army is looking actually pretty similar. That artillery observer squad already up to veterancy 3. Here comes the scary anti-infantry unit here. Almost picking up that Panzer Grenadier. Does only have some SMGs in here, so it does look like the Panzer Grenadier is going to get away. Huge hit from that Sturmpanzer. Absolutely wrecking those Rangers. Second heavy machine gun on the field here for our US player. So I like to talk about it a lot, but, you know, if you could throw a heavy machine gun on the wings of the map and force your opponent to go find it, that's going to be really good for you. So I'd actually love to see these heavy machine guns just thrown down in some houses on the edge of the map. Super high arc there. Gonna catch that heavy machine gun. And yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking about on that bottom side. Gonna pick up that territory. Now my question is, does this Ranger squad have some serious upgrades yet or not? Nope, not quite yet. Another beacon added on for a US player there. Is going to try and barrage his opponent off the center. Now one little nitpick I have about our US player is he's built the beacon in the same exact spot like 14 times. And, I mean, I guess that's his prerogative, but I don't know. I think he should maybe consider building it somewhere else. Make it a little harder for his opponent to find it, right? I don't know. Second Sturmpanzer on the field here. Gonna find these engineers. Engineers gonna bail on out of there. Good decision. Artillery observers. Like that he's not camping his artillery observers next to his beacons, just letting the beacon do its thing. Without his involvement, not gonna give away its position. And, you know, he'll have to suffer the longer cooldown on the barrage, but I think that's a fine trade-off. And more bazookas on the field here, having lost 2 so far. Sturmpanzer's pissed. This player gonna have to get out of there. Heavy machine gun gonna also have to back off. And, you know, those German victory points continuing to tick down a little bit here. It's getting a bit scary. I mean, it was already scary, but geez, he's down to 88. So lose track of that for even a moment. He's going to have a bad time. U.S. heavy machine gun on the side here. Going to prevent the recapture of that point. Grenadiers going to flank, though, from the looks of things. Here comes the bazooka Rangers. Those in the distance here. Lots of bounces, though. 4 bounces in a row. Even more. Not able to focus fire just one of them down. Bazooka's here to help. Actually getting some good side hits there. Ranger's going to have to back away. Bazooka's also getting totally slammed there. Going down once again. Heavy machine gun also went down to these grenadiers on the side. So, substantial losses for our U.S. player there. Now, German player probably doesn't want to capture there, just wants to pick up this point. And I think I'm thinking he might go back for that heavy machine gun. I think it would be a good decision, but it is his choice. Bazooka left on the floor here. Might be interesting to see our German player just pick that up again, just to take it away from his opponent. But to be totally honest with you, these Sturmpanzers doesn't feel like bazookas are going to be the right answer here. That said, it's pretty clear to me that our U.S. player is memeing. Of course, he doesn't want to build any tanks, from what I can tell. I think some Hellcats would be really, really good right about now. But that's okay. Sturmpanzer's pissed. Sending his entire army to deal with these Rangers here. Those Rangers gotta go right now. Seemingly unwilling to. That's a little scary. Heavy machine gun gonna pin down all these infantry, though. That's really nice. Sturmpanzer's not gonna let that happen, though. That's a high veterancy. Heavy machine gun probably doesn't want to lose that. Heavy machine gun is gonna bounce out of there. And Grenadiers going down, so nice pickup for him. Heavy machine gun. What's that? I think that was a stolen heavy machine gun from our German player being taken out by the U.S. player, and it was in the house, so the U.S. player couldn't re-secure it. Interesting play there. More riflemen on the way for our U.S. player. Not really surprised about that. Bazooka's here. Maybe the captain gets it, but maybe the captain dies on his way out of there to these AT guns, which is totally crazy. Rangers closing the gap here. Does have bazookas. Eating some Sturmpanzer shots, though. Might actually get one. Can he focus fire? Oh my goodness, I can't believe he's not going to get that unit. I mean, he does not want to lose this veteran C3 Ranger squad, so I can appreciate the choice to leave there. And what the heck is this? This is going to be the strafing run from the German player there. And Rangers eating some shots on their way out. Should live, no problem. Stuka raking those infantry. And Engineers managing to hold down this bottom point. Grenadiers did pick up the bazooka. That was a different bazooka. So it turns out there are many, which shouldn't be terribly surprising. 4th Ranger on the field. Let's check this guy's upgrades. So you got no upgrades, just a Ranger. This guy has a flamethrower. Okay. So continuing to add weapons onto those units. Grenadiers should escape there, right? Rangers are going to pick up that point, though, from the looks of things. German player doesn't have any units to respond, but is capturing this bottom side, so is okay for the time being. And heavy machine gun set up here. Looks like we're going to see a big push into the middle. Wouldn't be surprised if we saw another artillery beacon go down. Rangers closing the gap here. With their flamethrower, going to cook those grenadiers right out of that heavy cover. Grenade coming out, going to force them away. Should take that middle point. Sturmpanzer responding to this point being taken, but here comes the rockets from our U.S. player. Another strafing run, going to miss. So this looks like a dead Sturmpanzer to me. I don't see any infantry nearby, and really nice pickup by our U.S. player. Going to keep him in this game in a big way. German player, of course, has enough fuel. Out on another Sturmpanzer. And is going to do that now. 2 infantry squads almost going down there. Rangers, this is not a bazooka squad. Going to eat another Sturmpanzer shot. Going to bail out now. Should make it out okay. Panzer Grenadiers might pick him up, though. That's a Vet 3. Oh my goodness, attacking ground, almost picking him up there. Maximum range, not going to happen. Very, very important that our U.S. player got out of there alive. He does not have the manpower to replace that unit. Now this Ranger squad also in extreme danger here. Panzer Grenadiers moving to close here. There are 4 models in the squad. Attacking ground with the... Oh, and a grenade in their retreat path. Nice, really nice pickup by the Panzer Grenadiers there. That was 2 aimed abilities, right? He aimed that Panzer Grenadier... the Sturmpanzer there attacking ground. Heavy machine gun also going down. Wow. So U.S. player eating some very heavy losses here. Again, does not have the manpower to add those units back on, and I do think that was his bazooka squad. Very high veterancy bazooka ranger squad. The good news is that those bazookas are still on the ground there, so there's a chance he can get it back. Captain hopping in this house. But Sturmpanzer gonna friggin' nuke that thing from orbit. Huge push on this right side here. This captain's got to go right now. Dangerous retreat path here. Amazingly enough, those those recoilless rifles do pretty good damage to infantry there. Rangers managed to pick up at least 1 bazooka. How many did they get? They got them all. So they got 3 bazookas there. What else we got? Still 6 billion bars on that guy. And an LMG on that guy. So deep mine here. Panzer Grenadiers going to close this gap, though. Flamethrower doing okay for him. Bar Rifle's going to shred these units here. And here come the Sturmpanzers, though. Going to shoot this mine. Oh, buddy. Almost losing that unit. They were just standing right on top of that mine there. Scout squad taking away this left side, keeping himself in the game. Is that a point? Yeah. Engineers on the flank here grabbing this center point. Rangers trying to help out. But here come the Sturmpanzers once again. And wow, those engineers are hurting. Might go down here to this Bolshevik Pioneer squad. They are very good at long range, so might pick them up here. Attack ground there. Once again, that was not the AI making that shot. The player attacked ground with that unit. You know how I know? Because Sturmpanzers don't aim where the unit's gonna be, they aim where it is. So, nice shot there by our German player, using that unit to its fullest. And, you know, I think U.S. player has been, you know, this whole game, our U.S. player has been walking a knife's edge. I mean, he's been against 2 Sturmpanzers this entire game. And I think we're finally actually starting to see that, because our U.S. player has been playing extremely well to stay in the game as long as he has. Nice grenade there. Going to connect with some of those Panzer Grenadiers. Bazooka's unfortunately bouncing right off the side of that armor. But yeah, like I was saying, you know, we're in a situation where the U.S. player's been walking a knife's edge for a long time, and he's finally experiencing the consequences of his choices. And by the way, I am not hating. This build is freaking awesome. Despite the fact that it's not going to win in this game, probably. That said, he's not out. He does have some pretty strong Rangers still on the field. He's going to have to basically ignore the Sturmpanzers, which I don't know how he's going to make that work. But this is a good start. Artillery Observer going to sneak away this point. Might even see our US player kind of just totally ignore this and go around. But the German is recognizing that that's what's happening, sending a heavy machine gun to take this point. And things are looking a bit rough here. Barracks is going to go down there to those Sturmpanzers. And again, our US player does not have the resources to replace that. So, artillery observers did manage to steal that point. Looks like they're going to run for that top side, but I think the Sturmpanzers are going to have something to say about that. Getting one good connection. Zuka's engaging these recoilless rifles there. Sturmpanzers changing their mind about chasing the artillery observers, as they should. And closing the distance with these Rangers, getting right up on these Sturmpanzers. Again, our German player is having to manually attack ground with those Sturmpanzers to be able to run while fighting like that. Nice frag grenade right in between those two AT guns is going to destroy one, is going to destroy two. Sturmpanzers are going to chase these Rangers right back into their base here, though. Again, attacking ground on the move there, getting some really great connections. And very cool micro of these Sturmpanzers, man. It's been awesome to see that. Zuka's unfortunately bouncing off at maximum range, and losing this medical tent is another notch in our US player or German player's belt there, really holding his opponent down. Rangers did manage to secure this bottom side. The artillery observers trying to pick up the middle there, but being pushed back by our third Sturmpanzer, and of course that is the fourth one of the game. Artillery observers are going to get out alive. Ranger's going to eat a mine there. Might go down here. Again, attack ground, and that's a dead Ranger. Wow. US player pushing out of his base in a big way here, but here comes a strafing run. Going to pin all these units here. Nicely done. Rangers trying to close the gap here and trying to get shots, but three Sturmpanzers. I don't know what you're supposed to do against that, man. And there's the GG from PAX AJAX. Wow. What a really fun game. I mean, what a totally... Both players choosing to go for a ton of infantry. Look at those infantry lost. Oh my god, dude. 212 infantry lost. 40,000 damage. That game was nuts. So, I don't know what else to say about it. I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I did, and I will see you in the next one.